Hi. So I got off and I found questions. Very strange. We're going to try this again. Oh no, it is filming. It says private. So given all the weirdness that humanity is going through right now, it's quite possible this is private and that no one can see it. But one of the things I know now is that somebody is listening to me and sending me the questions people are asking. And so um, I'm just writing. Can you see me on YouTube? See raw feed. Question one. I would like to hear about the intersection of that going inward and the connection slash intimacy with others and how you or others say they experience that. I think what I'd like to say is that we are discovering, in my point of view, and in the conversations I've been in recently, I think we are discovering our privacy. That's our private relationship with ourselves. That privacy would be, I think, what you would call going inward, as if there is an inward. But what if there's a state of being that feels like you're going inward, but it has more of a state of being called privacy? Privacy, I would say that in our present moment of evolution, although I do think it'll change, in our present moment of evolution, I think that it could be experienced as fear of others, fear of not being heard, fear of not the compassion, the sensitivity, the caring. We're mostly up until now in our modern culture, we explain how you shouldn't feel that way or how to get over it. Like relationships are commodity. Once you break up with one person, you need to get over it and go find another. Loss is supposed to only happen for a few months. And so we're missing this basic human quality in the book, You as the Mind of Creation, of we invented intimacy to be in unity with ourselves, others, in life. That's a human evolutionary principle. Caring, compassion, adoration, devotion, delight. These are all, one of the things I knew about when these times we're moving into was I'd have less and less I could say to anybody, but I could tell them I was not going to leave their side, that I just wasn't going to leave their side, and maybe even say I don't know how to be with you, but I'm right here. I'm right here. And I think it's beyond words, that intimacy. It's knowing another is with you through thick and thin, whether you foul up, that there's no criteria to love. I often said that thing about I used to do talk in honor of men only. And I would say to the women in a room, if your definition of your husband's love is he takes out the garbage, then you probably should not be in this conversation with me. So the question I would like to hear about the intersection of that going inward and the connection, intimacy with others, and how you others say they experience that. I don't know about others. What I do know is that something has happened to me in the last couple of months. Like the dogs bark a lot here at night. They're triggered a lot by sounds, but I doesn't seem to damage my intimacy with the people here or the land here or the dogs. It it doesn't seem to, what's the word, create a conflict in intimacy. It doesn't seem to create that for me. And yet I am thinking about going home early, not because of anything wrong, which will make it one of those weird conversations, of course, but more because I am beginning to crave the depths of intimacy I'm experiencing. And it would probably be easier for me to do that in my home, where I have developed, where I have created that home to be an intimate place for me. But if you can hear me, it's not a judgment of Costa Rica or where I am or the people I'm with or the conditions I'm in. It's not about that. And yet our mental mind is afflicted with these judgments of why we feel the way we do. But what if all that's happening, let's say to me, what if all of this happening to me is I'm tending to my own intimacy with life and my own intimacy with myself, and don't have a lot of myself to provide an intimacy for others, whether it's more like a balance point. And maybe with Chris, he needed to have that intimacy with himself and didn't have enough of that intimacy, that raw intimacy we have when we're in these deep, profound emotions to share with others. I'm just saying that's how we're navigating it. I think right now, I think eventually, I think we'll be pretty good on raw feed. The other part about that trigger, the other question is, I would love to hear more about the trigger being the treasure. Since Chris isn't here, I can only give my view. But my view is that that something has definitely changed. I mean, these people who called me they wouldn't have called me if the trigger wasn't so intense. But it's just something you can't ignore anymore. That was what makes it the treasure. The trigger reveals something you can't ignore anymore. And then I think you go through two stages. I think the first stage is you try to figure out what we think relieves these triggers is being able to do something about it, react in some way, fix it in some way, make it better in some way. But what we're heading into for a while, we won't be able to fix it or make it better. So I think the second stage is, first of all, there's nothing I can do about this. Then I think the second stage is you begin to realize how deeply meaningful life is for you, and including how sad that deep, meaningful existence doesn't seem to be the measurement for how people are interacting with each other and even how they're interacting with themselves. But we're on a tipping point. So we, as an objectified mind, we just think there's right answers, that this is the right answer, this is the right solution, this is what's really going on. No, we're evolving. It is becoming intolerable for many of us as consciousness is raising in us. What we once would have just reported on like it was just a fact, and it had no effect on our feelings or our emotions or our sense of well-being. Now it's intolerable. That's actually good news, not bad news. We've been numbed down, dumbed down. We've been calcified, homogenized, armored in that. And we are now our feeling self, our sensing self, our connected self that brings us to the missing part of the equation, which is we are actually part of creation. And when it becomes unacceptable at a sensory feeling consciousness level, unacceptable for human beings to harm each other, the molecular universe will provide what's needed for a world without harm. You know, trauma begets trauma. Transmutation of trauma begets life force energy. Life force energy begets intimacy, love, caring. But the missing part of the equation is that we're part of creation. And as long as we crave connection, as we crave love, as we crave well-being, as we crave intimacy with others and intimacy with ourselves, the molecular universe responds. But it's been thousands of years since really bad things happened that shifted the focus of human beings into needing to protect and defend themselves. And they lost their ability to be with themselves, and to be with others, and to be with life. And that's repairing. So it's the stages. I think the person asked that question was in on a call I did a while back about, can we tend effectively to our own evolution? Can we do that? Can we do that? So yes, we can look at this trigger is the treasure under two banners. We can look under the trigger is the treasure from the banner of this will fix things. I don't think so. I don't think anything ultimately fixes things is if it isn't lined up with what grants life and has us exist as a whole. Everything starts to move us towards that though. But the trigger is a treasure right now because we can't suppress our direct link with creation, our unique and essential aspect of creation that we are, and the deeply, profoundly meaningful relationship we have with life. I don't mean life circumstances, I mean life itself. So more than likely, the person that asked that question is going to start to tend to life with more tenderness, show more love, more kindness, because it just hurts too bad to be anything else. After the reactions and the hate and the anger and the rage and that they shouldn't be this way, all goes away. Stage 3. Okay, there are no more questions. I came back on because I saw them. And I'm going to go away now from the YouTube channel. And once again, I love you.